You know, I realize, right? Like, you could have headphones on a video, and it cannot be connected to anything, and you can have a podcast. It's not connected to any equipment. It's just there. It's my phone. And I got headphones on. And I got a podcast.
So Sully says to me, he says, "Do you want your headphones on?" And I went, "Yeah, of course. I need to look like a podcaster."
Oh,
But isn't that true for life? How in today's world there's so many. I need to look. I may not be.
yeah, I need to look like a business owner. I
I
need to look like an entrepreneur.
I need to look. So anyway, that's why we're laughing. Anyway, I am not your host. This is the Uncovering Greatness podcast. I am not your host. This is your host. His name is Suleman Steele, Sully for short, Sully, Silly, or whatever else everyone else calls him who doesn't listen. Anyway, how's it, champ? Thanks for hosting me.
In the words of Barry Mitchell, I don't care what you call me, just pay me my money.
Call me asshole if you want. Huh?
I don't care. Just put the money in my bank account. How you doing, Barry?
Good in you, bud.
Good, good. I wanted to tell you about my new favorite podcast, actually, which you shared with me.
PBD?
No, it's better than PBD. It's better than Rogan.
Yeah.
The Rasta podcast. The Rasta monkeys.
Hey, the Rasta monkeys are crackers, Joe. I love the Rasta monkey.
Can I tell you one that I saw? He says, Dad, how do you find, what do you look for to find a good woman? His dad says, okay, you need three things. To be able to cook, to be able to clean, and she must look good. Most importantly, the three must never meet each other. Game over. I was done. I was done. It was so good.
Yeah, the Rasta monkey.
Oh, man, thank you, AI. You guys have given us something we didn't know we needed. And that's where I lead into my next piece. So,
Barry and Sully, the Southern African monkeys. It's coming. It's coming.
hey, boys and girls.
No, you're not allowed to say that.
What?
Because next you're going to say ladies and gents.
People.
You're going to say boys and girls.
Yeah. Well,
Rasta monkey. Anyway, your next piece was what?
yeah. Because I feel like now, especially with AI, right? Like I was actually seeing, somebody was saying like, AI can design you can basically create you a website in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Which means like they can do apps. AI can do everything for you, basically. And I'm now seeing a lot of people obviously leaning into that.
Yeah.
And they're trying to create businesses from it.
Yeah, but AI doesn't do it in 10 minutes because it takes you 17 hours to get all the prompts right.
There's a smart guy.
Hey?
You're a smart guy. Who would have thunk it? No, but I feel like, so, I mean.
And I get a website in 10 minutes. How do I know that? Because I've been there and gone, I get a website in 10 minutes. And then I have to go and learn how to do all the prompts, get everything right, get all the context and everything. What?
2 days later.
You're just going to sit there and go, hey, I design me a website for my business.
That's what people think.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people are now trying to, I would say they're trying to sell it.
As
right?
a very good friend of mine was apt in saying, sadly, there's no medicine for stupidity.
Nah. You can't get a prescription for that. There should be though.
But it's, new opportunities for people. And
100%.
you know, AI is, I mean, AI is a real thing. And, you know, I've started looking at some ads around, you know, you don't need to do anything. I'll teach you on AI how to make 20 grand a month.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, how? You know,
Oh, you have to buy the course.
yeah, now you buy the course and, you know, it's simple and you don't have to. It's like, come on, guys, man.
I think that's something that's starting to annoy me now as well. I actually saw an ad by a guy who said businesses have been running their Facebook ads wrong.
Yeah.
I teach you how to do it correctly. Sign up now. And I was like, why don't you just tell me how to do it? Like, what's the problem?
Yeah, or rather just ask some questions. Look,
100%.
have you been doing Facebook?
Yeah.
And have you been getting success? And what success have you been getting? And what problems have you been having? If you face these problems, what I've learned is that there's another way to do it that'll create you different results.
Yeah.
So if you would like to find that out, you know, hook up with me or click on the link or something below, no problem. But, you know, just the statement, I know and everyone else is wrong. I mean, I don't know about you. I just wouldn't sign up for something like that. I'm like,
No, but I think, and maybe it's because I've been in this world for too long. I kind of feel like, why don't you just give me the information, right? Because we don't hold information back. You can go and literally, there's the 6-step sales cycle. There's everything that you teach is online.
yeah.
There's nothing we're hiding from you. If you want to sign up for one of our programs to come to a sales explosion, yes, the level is different to what we're putting out online, but we're still giving you the information. Here it is. Go implement it.
Information's information.
Yeah, you're not going to apply it.
What we do is help you shift.
Ooh.
You know, help you implement the information, help you shift your mindset, how to see things that you didn't see before. That's really, because, you know, sales process is a sales process. How come some people have exactly the sales process, shift their mindset, change their little voice, become bigger beings, and can over a very short period of time take exactly the same sales process and suddenly start creating results? Mindset. So yeah, but I just, yeah, I think in today's world there is so much information coming at us,
So much.
that I think people are becoming, I don't know if it's lazy, but picking what supports their narratives, picking what supports their
Your side of the coin.
100%. And it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, interesting. But I mean, like we've said, I think AI is going to change the world.
Oh yeah.
But there's other, you know, we're still going to speak, we're still going to connect with people, we're still going to be beings, people with emotions. If you don't know how to handle other people, I honestly still think there's going to be a time where you're going to be left wanting.
What do you mean?
Well, I just believe that as we go more and more tech, those people that actually develop people skills, real people skills, how to connect with people, how to understand people, how to understand emotions, are going to have a unique ability, a unique skill that will be needed, because many people are going to move away from human connection, and, you know, AI will do it and robots will do it and everything else. And we're human beings. We're not human doings.
So I think that's not what I wanted to talk about, but
let's talk about what you want.
No, we'll get there, because I have that's such an interesting thing that you're saying, right? Because I was actually watching a video yesterday by Cody Sanchez, and she was talking about, according to scientists, your brain doesn't actually really click until you hit your 30s, like 32, right? So she was basically saying, like, when in your 20s, you're not supposed to have it figured out, but what you're supposed to be doing is learning skills that could help you in the world when you get to your 30s.
Yeah, learning life.
So I wanted to then ask you, like, you said, like, learning emotional skills and how do you learn stuff like that?
Well, how do you learn emotional skills? So I mean, it's a pretty big topic, but how do you become more, how do you increase your level of emotional skills and your emotional intelligence?
Yeah.
Well, one is you understand what emotional intelligence is.
Cool.
So, you know, in my simple terms, emotional intelligence is the ability to be able to control your emotions, think clearly, and make the correct decisions under heat and pressure. Okay. And the more emotionally intelligent you are, the more heat and pressure you can withstand, and the better the decisions you can make in those heat and pressure times. So, and you work on your emotional intelligence. So you work on your little voice. You work on you work on the things that hold you back. You work on becoming deliberate in your thoughts. You work on questioning why you think. Why? I mean, I ask you, why do you think the way you think, for example? Because of your conditioned behavior.
Yeah.
Okay. So have you ever? I know you have, but when you ask people this, do you actually sit down and say, why am I thinking the way I'm thinking right now? Why? I just believe in today's world, many people are not thinking it. They have this ideology, they have this sort of mindset, they have this rhetoric that they want to follow, and they're going to follow that whatever. And then they spend a lot of their time finding stuff on social media, for example, to support that rhetoric.
Yeah.
Rather than actually stopping and saying, let me think. I don't believe school teaches us to think.
No.
I think school just teaches us to follow instructions, do what you're told. These are the answers. Learn the answers and parrot the answers, and then we're called smart. We're not taught to think. So, and that's a skill that you got to learn. You teach yourself to think. You teach yourself to be able to handle heat and pressure. How do you learn to handle heat and pressure? You put yourself in heat and pressure, and then you become conscious in terms of how did you deal with it. Okay, and then you step back and you learn and go, if I was in that situation again, what would I do? How would I handle it? Where would I go? And I think emotional and spiritual intelligence, and we're not going to get deep into this, but just emotional and spiritual intelligence are being taught and encouraged less and less and less. I meet people that can tell me all about emotional intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
Then I get them to do something tough and they quit because they're just weak. Weak. They can't stand in the heat and the pressure of pushing through. But you work on that because that you grow over time. It's like muscles. You don't wake up today and say, I want to be a bodybuilder tomorrow and win Mr. Olympia. You get in and you train your muscles day in and day out, day in and day out. Over a period of time, you get to that level. Your brain is the same. You train your brain. You work consciously to create change. It's conscious, and eventually it becomes subconscious, unconscious behaviors, habits, all those type of stuff, which allows you to grow. You consciously work on your little voice. Acknowledge those fears, acknowledge what holds you back, acknowledge the things that you say that maybe you shouldn't say that create results that you didn't really want. You take responsibility for your life. You take responsibility for you and the results that happen around you. Why? I just know in my life, the common denominator is me. So everything that happens around me involves me. So I play a part in everything. Great. If I'm not getting the results I want, what part am I playing that I shouldn't be playing in that way? And how do I change the way of playing? And that's conscious. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
If I'm not making money, why aren't I making money? If I'm not fit and healthy, why aren't I fit and healthy? Do I want to be fit and healthy? Yes. Okay, great. Well, how often do I find myself making excuses? All the time. Well, do I want to keep making excuses? No. Okay, well, what are you going to do about it? So it's this conscious decision. And the more conscious you become, the bigger the game you play, the bigger the life you play, the better the decisions you make, and over time you create growth. And I mean, we run a 5-day seminar on this, so to answer it in a podcast. But that's really it. What game do you want to play? What do you need to do? And are you big enough
To do it.
emotionally, spiritually, to be able to do it? Is your being big enough to be able to handle the heat and pressure that you're gonna hit? If not, well, what do you have to do to work on this? I've just learned that for me, I do things like I commit to something that may scare me or I do know is going to test me beyond anything I've ever done. And then once I've committed to it, well, part of my rules of life is I'm going to get it done.
Yeah.
And then I go on the journey of learning. And that's when I grow, because I am committed to finish what I started. So now I'm doing stuff that I've never done before or scare the heck out of me. I'll get it done and get the lessons, and I grow. Right. So, yeah.
No, and I think that for me, I feel like that question does lead directly into what I wanted to talk about, which is something I've been seeing a lot of, because we run ads, we run leads and things of that nature. See a lot of startups, actually. A lot of people who they've got this great idea, but they're lacking one thing, and that one thing is funding. If they had the money, their business will be booming.
Yeah.
And I feel like what you just said there is like, if you want to run a business, right, and you're looking for funding, for example, put yourself under heat and pressure.
Yeah. How many people have you pitched your business to for funding?
I don't think many people are doing that. I think they're posting it on social media.
Yeah. Well, are you out learning how to pitch, knocking on doors, pitching your idea to people? And when you don't get the funding, are you stepping back saying, what did I do? What did I learn? What can I change? What did they say? What are they telling me about my idea? Why won't they invest? Were you being, I don't know, like I see many people, arrogant too arrogant, going, well, you don't understand. You just pay me the money. I know what I'm doing. Okay, dude, go do. You know what you're doing. Funny enough, you came to me.
Yeah.
If I was an investor, you came to me to ask for my money, and I tell you that, I can point out a couple of things that aren't working, and you are arrogant enough to tell me why I don't know what I'm talking about. Why would I freaking give you money?
Of course.
So step back, go learn, change your pitch, change what you're doing, re-look at it, and then go do it again, and go do it again, and go do it again, and go do it again. And I'm going to irritate you, and go do it again. And over that period of time, you will find what you need to do and what you need to change to get to the person that's going to invest, or the people that are going to invest. So I think a lot of people are sitting around not actually actively learning how to pitch for funding and find investment and build their business model. They are, I have this great idea, I need money, who's going to give me money? They're not getting money, and they complain. There's no funding. If there was funding, I'd have business. I'm not saying it's easy. The other side of that is, if you can't get funding right now, but you need to make money, well, find something that you can sell, get out, go sell, and start generating income. As you start generating income, it'll alleviate the pressure on you, and over time, you will be able to, build your model.
It's like you don't necessarily have to sell your business or product.
No, I mean, if you have a great idea that requires an investment in, I don't know, maybe you have a new product you want to develop, and it requires an investment in molds, for example, and you can't afford the 200,000 or 300,000 rand for the mold or the patent or anything like that. Well, okay, great. So you have no money. So one step is you have to be able to go into the market and sell your idea, and sell the reason why someone is going to invest in an idea and get and what return are they going to get? Okay, so that's what the one side. Then you have to be able to sell that, and you have to be able to learn, retweak your pitch, do all that sort of stuff, take advice from people until you find the person, or you go back to those people, and that may take you 10 tries, 20 tries, 50 tries, 100 tries, 150 tries. I don't know. I think if I remember the case study right, I think it was Sarah Blakely, and I think she's the founder of Spanx.
Yeah.
If it is her, but it was.
No, it wasn't.
I think it was the number, if I remember right, was she pitched 157 times before she found her first investor.
Yeah.
157 pitches, and went back and tweaked it and changed it and learnt. And most people aren't prepared to pitch once, Sully, or twice or three times. Most people are sitting around thinking, well, if you give me money, then I'll build my business. The other side of that is well, while you're doing that, find a product, a service, someone else. Go learn how to sell. Learn how to sell. Make some money, so that while you're learning how to pitch and develop your business, one, you're making money to live, to survive, and two, you may be able to generate enough money that you can start putting in some of your own capital into there to say, look, this is what I've done over the last year. I went out, I made 50 grand a month. I lived on 10, I put 40 away, and I've been able to save up 200,000. I need 400,000 to get this going, but I can put in my own 200,000 that I've made. Well, I don't know about you, but if I came to you and said, Sully, I need to borrow 200,000, but I can what I've done is, over the last year, in order to do that, I went out, I sold this, I did this, this is what I've done. I took that money and I put it over here. I didn't buy a new car and put it into, I don't know, a nice suit so that I can look good when I pitch to you. I've got it here. Here, I have 200,000. I need another 200,000 to allow me to do what I need to do for 400,000. This is why, and this is the return.
Yeah, shit, you've done the work, so I'm more than likely going to give you that work.
Well, great. But again, then it goes back to, I want what I want now. Well, if you can't get what you want now, you have to find a way to get it when it's ready to come to you. So I think it's how badly do you want to get it done, and what are you going to be able to do and learn in order to make it happen? So, and it is that if you give me funding, then I'll have a great business. No, you won't. You'll have some money from someone that put it in. It's highly likely that you're going to lose a lot of it anyway, because you don't know how to deal with it. You don't know how to handle it. You don't know how to use it.
And I feel like this is such great, I don't want to say advice, I want to say feedback, because you guys will, if you say advice, something I learned from you, which is, watch this. Barry said what he said. take this advice and then you're going to go and try it and it doesn't work and you'll be like, Barry
I'm
sucks.
just telling you how I think.
Yes.
That's how I think.
Exactly. I think this is
Take it or don't take it.
I think it's such great feedback for startups, especially startups in Africa, right? Because I feel like we are definitely looking at the West and we're looking at those startups and going, man, that guy got $100 million in funding with this, like,
Sully, how often does that happen?
no, it doesn't happen often.
So-
I'm saying it happens, and that's what it gets highlighted, and then we see that and go, I'm going to do that.
But it happens here. People get on a government fund or get on a supply development program with corporate, and the corporate gives them money, and it happens here. But it happens to a very small
portion.
People. The average person doesn't get that. The average person, and the reality is while you're waiting for that to happen, it's like people that are waiting to win the lotto. Well, get out and go do other stuff, because if it doesn't happen, at least you set yourself up. And don't blame the fact that no one will give me money. Go make your own money. Go find it. Go do what's needed to be done in order to learn how to generate it. And in that journey of learning how to generate your own money, you'll grow in learning how to find an investor, in learning business, in learning all those skills, in growing yourself, in growing your emotional your emotional intelligence, in standing in more heat and pressure.
Yeah, I mean, you've had this business now, and March of this year will be 19 years.
Going to our 20th year.
And at no point in time did you take on an investor?
To buy my franchise, I had to borrow 100,000 US.
Okay.
So I went and pitched to someone, and they loaned me. I took a loan of 100,000 US, and I paid that back over a period of time.
Okay.
But when I came back from the States, having signed for the franchise, I didn't have 100,000 US. I had to go out and try find it. It took me a couple of months to find it, and a couple of trips, and in the meantime, what I did is I had a family to feed. I wasn't in the corporate world anymore. My Provident Fund was running out quickly. I needed to make money, so I found stuff to sell, and I started selling. So as I started to sell, and what I did is then I also started to sell the training business, and committed to Blair Singer that he would come out, started selling tickets into the training business, so that when my investor said, well, what are you doing about it? I said, well, this is what I've done. I've already booked a venue. I've already done this. I'm doing this. He could look and go, okay, the guy's doing something with his own money to get this thing going. He's out working. How many people have you got coming to the seminar? When's Blair coming? He was like, okay, I'll give you some of what you need. So I put in what I could put in, and funded myself, but I needed to pay for a franchise. So that's for me how I started. If I would have kept selling until I could either make the money myself and had enough, or if I went to a couple of potential investors, or until I found a potential investor, I don't know, I would have done it until I got it done. Most people don't want to do things until they get it done. They want to do things until they get what they want. I want to do it, but I must get it.
Yeah.
No, you got to do it until you get it done. So, yeah, and I think, start your business, man. Start your business. And the start of a business is find something to sell you so you can generate income.
And I mean, I feel like not every business needs to be the world's greatest business, right? You don't need to be 100 million rand business, 200. You don't need, if you start a business that runs correctly, has the right systems, and is generating income, so you can have a good business.
It's going to take you 20 years to build that type of business.
What business?
100 million rand, 200 million rand, billion rand business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For most cases. So people talk, I'm going to be a multimillionaire next week, next month, because I have this great idea. And no, you're not. Yeah. You're going to make huge amounts of mistakes. You're going to put money where you shouldn't have. As you're on the journey, you're going to learn stuff that you didn't even understand. Things are going to come from left field, and you're going to have to deal with shit that you don't even know. You're going to hire people that are going to be the best team in the world that are going to screw you. All that sort of stuff's going to come. Many people are not factoring that stuff in. It's this euphoria of, I have a business and a great idea. I'm going to be a multi-gazillionaire in the next couple of months, and I know that if I get that's how often does that happen?
Nah, it doesn't.
And it about as often as rocking horses pop in the bedroom.
Very often.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a case of reality. You know, it's a case of reality. It's a case of looking, going, what do I need to do? And I'm not saying this to make you think small or to dumb things down, you know, or to, you know, tell you not to dream or anything. I'm not, but you have to have some form of reality. Yeah, the reality. Where do you sit? What's the next step? What do I need to learn to get there? You know, otherwise it's just fantasy, man. And I don't know about you, fantasies generally don't freaking come true.
Yeah. You know what's funny to me? I was just thinking now, man, if we were in that part of the world, the Americas and stuff,
Yeah.
you would be so big. Like, you would have, and I say this because I saw a video of Alex Hormozy at one of his events, and he had this guy come up and basically say, I've got a business currently, we're doing 5 million a year.
Yeah.
By the end of this year, we want to do 100 million. And Alex looked, he went, what? And he said, yeah, we're going to do 100 million. And he said, he kind of chuckled a little bit. And he said, I'm not laughing at you. And I'm not shooting down your dreams. So just hear me out here. And he pretty much said what you just said. He said, right now you're doing 5 million. Why not go to 7 or 8 million?
Yeah.
Do you know what the leap is between 5 and 100 in 12 months?
You know why I'm going to go to 100? Because I can say 100.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm not shooting your dream down, but you're probably going to put yourself in more of a problem aiming for the 100. You're probably going to end up shutting down your business aiming for the 100 instead of aiming for a 10, for example.
100%.
That's such a massive shift. And what you just said, there was exactly that. Right?
And that's the truth.
Yeah. You're not shooting down the dream.
Frankly, right now, you might be big enough to run a 5 million business. You might be big enough.
Saying you as an individual, not as the business.
No, as an individual.
Yeah.
Because you have to run 5 million worth of business. Now you're going to go to 100 million. And I don't know the business, but let's just say the 100 million requires another 100 staff, requires more officers, requires bigger liabilities. Well, now you better be big enough to be able to handle all that, because if you can't, it'll collapse. So that's crazy. Those are the things that people don't see. What they see is the 100 million. If I have this business and I have 100 million, I'm going to make lots of money. No, you're not. You're going to learn lessons that you don't even know exist.
Yeah.
You're going to find out shit, and it's like, oh crap, if someone had taught me this, they couldn't teach you because you weren't prepared to learn. They couldn't teach you because you weren't in the space where you could actually take on the lesson.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're going to get to a space in that growth where you're going to go, oh shit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then I'll go back to it. Stuff's going to come at you. You know, we hit 2019 and hit our best year ever. We were at a tipping point in our business. After 13 years in business, our best year ever. And then COVID came.
Yeah.
Okay, well, guess what? We had to learn how to get through the next step. And the next step was saving the business, not going to 100 million. It was saving the business, doing what was needed, getting the lessons, moving on, pivoting, reconsolidating to get through what we didn't even know we were trying to get through.
And I feel like COVID...
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I was actually thinking about it the other day, because we speak about COVID a lot, and because I feel like it's such a great lesson just for what it was. But now that I think about it, the manner in which COVID grew you as a being, I'm saying you, was a game changer.
COVID for me was one of... Would I want it to come back again? No. It was shit. being
that part of it.
Being locked, being in my garage every day, talking to people on a screen. So it was crap, man. But I had to do it. But you know what it did? It pushed me. It pushed me to be able to go, dude, you're either going to quit or you're going to push through. You're either going to stand in the heat or you're not. And what it did, it pushed me into lots of all the things that I teach. All the things that I'd done to get where I was at. But in that moment, how quickly could we pivot? How quickly could we change? How quickly did we not worry about the nonsense? I mean, I often talk about too many people are so worried about stuff that doesn't even affect their life. And if it does affect their life, they have no control over it. Stop talking about that shit. I give you an example. Can America affect us here? Of course they can. Yes, no doubt about it. Can I do anything about what the Americans are doing, what ICE is doing, what the anti-ICE people are doing, what the lady that got shot in Minneapolis? Can I do anything about that?
No.
Well, why am I going to waste my time commenting when I'm not actually focusing on what I can do about my business this afternoon?
Yeah. Nothing.
So focus on what you can control. And that was one of our biggest lessons is we our habits of our training up to that point as a team kicked in, and we got absolutely focused on what we could control. People were saying to me, what do you think of I was like, I actually don't
I don't think of
what I do know is that these are the rules, whether I agree with the rules or don't agree with the rules. I do not have the time to argue about it or get lost in a friggin' rabbit hole about conspiracy theories or not
real or
conspiracy
not.
theories,
Yeah.
because I have 7 people in my team that I need to make sure survive this, whatever this is. I need to survive it. We need to take our business. We need to do this. And that's where we focused. When I look back, part of it was a wonderful friggin' time. We learned some stuff, created stuff. Sure. Did it cost us? Very expensive money-wise. Did we lose money? Yes. But I step back and go, and you got it. I wouldn't be the being that I am today.
No.
And I wouldn't have moved into the space of some of the clients I work with today that are now $1 billion businesses.
Yeah.
If I hadn't have grown through that phase.
Yeah.
It was the same as working with Robert Kiyosaki for 3 years. I definitely didn't like all of it. I loved some of it. I hated some of it, but I grew through that because it was heat and pressure. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And all the time I had to ask myself, as I'm going through what I'm going through, what am I learning? What am I learning to grow me? Not do I like it and this is unfair.
Is this nice?
Is this nice? It was irrelevant. It was happening. So why is it happening and what am I learning and what can I change and how did I create this? And I think that's the journey of growth. And, if you're sitting around waiting for funding, well, guess what? Keep waiting. And if you think it's unfair, great, it's unfair. That's your opinion. So stick to your opinion. But I can tell you now, if you still sit around, complain that it's unfair, that no one will give you funding, that you've got an amazing idea, and you're not actually going to do anything to move yourself forward, well, great. So you may be right, but you're still going to be right broke with no funding, and it's still going to be unfair. So rather actually just stop complaining about that sort of shit. Get off your ass and go learn how to do the things that you need to do. And guess what? You will, if you are doing things that will move you to the next level. No, you may not be at the level you want to be, but you will be at a better level than if you just sit around and complain and wait.
There's one thing and I hope you guys pick this up for the people who watch regularly, and I know there are a few. What are the key lessons that you teach? I feel like on every episode, get off your ass.
Sully,
if you learn nothing else.
Business, look, I didn't do very well in English class.
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't know. Yeah, anyway. But I can read and write English, and I can speak English.
Yes.
Okay. And this is what I remember from English class.
Mm-hmm.
Business is a verb.
Okay.
Sales is a verb.
Mm.
Acquiring funding is a verb.
Doing.
And a verb is a doing word.
Mm.
Not a sitting,
waiting.
It's a doing word. You have to get out and do. Life is a doing word.
This is something you do.
Life is a verb. It's a doing word.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And some of it works and some of it doesn't. And when you do what you think you should be doing, and you figure out what doesn't work, you don't do it again. When you figure out what works, you do it again. When you figure out what works, you do it better. You change it, you tweak it. But is it tough when you have a wonderful idea and you know it's going to change the world and you can't find funding? Yes, great. So stop complaining that no one will give you money. Stop complaining how unfair it is. Stop complaining it's about where you grew up or didn't grow up, or whether your dad had money or didn't have money, or you stop complaining about all those sort of things. Start understanding what's required to be done. Get up and go do it. And while instead of complaining, you'll at least move yourself to a better level. Rather be at a better level. You may not be at, I say it again, where you want to be, but you'll be at a better level.
And just to sort of go back to the COVID thing, and I feel like this is an episode. I want to say startups, but I feel like for people starting their businesses, people new in business, I think this is, for me, at least one thing that I learned, which is so important, is if you're going to start the business, be the business owner, CEO, whatever you want to call it, you're the leader. If you're panicking, right, everybody else on your team is going to be panicking.
100%.
And I think that was like one of the key things during COVID that you never did, is panic, or you never showed us your panic.
But how long have I been working on my being, my emotional intelligence, my little voice, all that sort of stuff? I know this. if it happened in 2001, the person I was then, if it had have happened in 2009, the person that I would have dealt with it in a very different way, because I was a very different being, very different person. My level of emotional intelligence wasn't anywhere near where it was where it got to in 2019. Does that make sense? But that comes from work. It's not because it was right or wrong. It's just that I have spent so much time. Why? Because in 2008, I sat in a boardroom, and a response I got from Robert Kiyosaki in an interview that I did with him before, when I asked him, I said, Robert, what is the one key thing that you would attribute to your success? He said, Barry, I can handle a bigger little voice than you. That I took that, he didn't give that to me as advice. He gave it to me in an answer to a question. But I took that and went, that makes sense. So what he was saying to me is, I can handle more heat and pressure than you. He didn't say, because I grew up in a rich household and my dad gave me money, because, the bank invested in me, because, I have 2 degrees and you don't, because I'm Japanese American and you not. He didn't say any of the things that most people blame why they don't have what they want. He said, because I can overcome a bigger little voice than you. Because when what that means is, when I'm under pressure, I can perform at a higher level and push through that pressure. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then he followed that up by saying, because I have invested more time, effort, energy, and money in my personal development than you have in yours. Yeah. I have grown myself over time. Does that make sense? Yeah. And for me, when I walked away from that, that was like, there's numerous things that him and Kim and Blair said in that interview. And, I mean, one of them is, I'll never forget this. He said, the power of being an entrepreneur is that if the world turned to cannibalism, I'd be on the street selling knives and forks. I'll never forget that. And it was such a great analogy for
find an opportunity,
see the opportunity and get out and make it happen. Yeah. Most people wouldn't. They'd be hiding
the world at cannibalism,
complaining about being eaten.
Yeah, you'll be just selling smartest.
But if you go back to that, Sully, you can complain or you can work on yourself. And the bigger you become, the more you can overcome the problems. But you have your journey to grow. And that's when we went through COVID. That was the deal. Why? Because in my journey up to COVID, I mean, the franchise that I bought collapsed in 3 years, and I lost all the money I invested into it. And I was 2.5. I had to get through that. Yep. That made me bigger and stronger. Working directly with Robert and running events with him and being in his space and being, pounded by him as a mentor and a coach, that grew me. Does that make sense? Getting COVID. And all those things that preceded, that came before COVID, because I'm consistently learning and growing myself and focused on what I need to learn to change to play the game better, not what I need to do to be right, what I need to do to play it better and bigger and do it differently, because what I did last time didn't give me the results I want. What do I need to tweak, change? When I tweak, change something, I'm not guaranteed that I'm going to get what I want. What I am pretty sure of is that the outcome will be different. It may not be the outcome I want, but it'll be different. And then I have something else to measure on, something else to change. And that's what happened in COVID. That's also what happened in our team, because in our little team that we had at that stage, the people that stuck around were the people that were vested in growing through and growing their on a personal development journey. They were committed to a mission, a vision. The other people, and nothing against them, weren't in the same vein.
No.
But that, and pushing through that, we grew tighter as a team. We grew stronger as a team, so that as we've come out of that, the things that we've had to handle since, we've been more equipped to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's the journey of growth. That's why, stop waiting around for something to happen. Get off your ass and go take action. That action may not give you what you want, but it will give you something different to what you have at the moment that you can learn from and grow from.
Yeah, I think putting yourself in the heat and pressure and then standing in it is honestly it's the ultimate way to improve. You can read about personal development. millions of
Well, then
books
you're
out.
informed.
Yeah, there's millions of books, there's so much content around personal development out there, but the true test of it is actually putting yourself in it, whatever it is for you.
When it comes to, I have no doubt there are, in fact, it's not even no doubt, there are hundreds of thousands of people that'll be able to write papers on it, have done a doctorate on emotional intelligence, all that sort of stuff. That's great. And they could make comments on the podcast about what I do know and don't know. That's cool. What I know about emotional intelligence in core day to day, it's your ability to stand in the heat and pressure of the emotion and push through that. That is going to change you when you come out the other side.
Yeah.
That'll make you a bigger being if you stick in it. Does that make sense? It'll grow you. Why? Because I've seen it happen over 20 years. I've seen it happen in our rooms. That's what we do, is we create an environment that turns up heat and pressure.
Yep.
And then people get to stand in that heat and pressure, and they pop out the other side, and they become bigger beings and create. Yes, they may have a little bit more information, but it's less about what they learn to do. It's who they become.
Yeah.
And
And
that's the game. And if you're waiting for funding, stop friggin' waiting. Stop complaining why you don't have funding. Get out and go learn how to get funding. Get out and go learn how to make some money. Go make some money. And no, you won't get everything you want. But when you get something different, you'll learn from it. And then you'll get something else different and get something else different. And the more you learn and the more you're open to learning and the more you're open to grow, eventually you'll get what you want.
So my final thought before we wrap this up, or my final question: did you see? we talk about big beings and beings, people who are just who they are. Did you see what the president did? The president of the world. See what he did at Ford.
Dude, DJT, what did he do now?
He was at the Ford plant, basically talking about economy's booming. You guys, good job. And he was walking, and somebody called him a pedophile protector.
Yeah.
He gave the guy the finger, and he said,
but isn't that, so what's wrong with that?
no, there's nothing wrong with it from my perspective.
I think it's friggin' classic.
That's him, man.
I think it's classic because if you have the audacity to be able to say that, well, you better get the feedback that's coming back.
100%.
And whether he's president or not, I think that's friggin' marvelous. If you can be a big enough,
fascinating.
If you want to be a big enough of a person who thinks you can throw something like that around, no problem. Take what comes back.
Well, look, credit to the person who did it. He says he has no regrets doing what he did. He still sticks by it. And I
guarantee you DJT has no friggin' has no regret what he did.
I guarantee DJT forgot about it already. He did it. It's done. It's game over. I'm moving on to the next thing.
And the person that did it, that's going to be the biggest thing that he's.
That's the highlight.
That's the highlight of life.
I think he should also move on.
No, that's how small a being he is.
Maybe, I don't know.
I
have no idea. For me, I'm just saying. I like the fact that he owned it and he said, "I did it. It is what it is. I have no regrets doing it. I'll do it again." I just found it, for me, why I found that fascinating was because, yes, obviously the rhetoric now is, you're president, how could you do that? Da, 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 da. I mean, but any person on this planet, if you call me a name or you call me something that I do not believe that I am, I'm going to react.
So if you call me something like that and I'm walking through, I'll walk up and ask you a question, and then I don't know.
It might be a short conversation.
But that's the interesting thing, is that the world, because of that status, oh, you can't do that. Why not? Dude. But also it's totally out of context. The president is there at the Ford plant doing what he's doing, and you're going to bring in something.
You need to take your moment.
Well, what does that have to do with what they're doing? That for me is the other thing. So that's why I say that's a small being.
And I think
because you're not big enough to actually go and do it in the right context.
Yeah, and I feel like right now that guy might have, now that I think about it, I don't know how Ford operates or whatever it is or what will happen, but like I feel like you maybe just put yourself at your job at risk. I may be wrong, but I'm just speculating.
So let's take this context. Let's go micro. Okay, I have Robert Kiyosaki come out to South Africa, and he's working with us, and he's visiting us, and I have a group of people for breakfast. Okay. Like we did in 2018 when he came out. I have a group of people for breakfast, and there's 40 people, and he says something, and you work for Uncovering Greatness, and you sitting at the back, and you make a comment like, I don't know. Robert, that's absolute bullshit. What you teach is rubbish. How long do you think you'd last in my organization?
No, I'll be done then.
Yeah, you're gone.
In that moment.
No, I might even agree with your comment,
But I'm
in
gonna
the
be done.
context of where it was raised, you don't act like that.
It's a bit off.
That's not who we are.
Yeah.
You have the balls to go to him afterwards and say, Robert, I have exception with something. I need to challenge you on this.
Fair. I agree.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And most people wouldn't do that
No.
because they're not big enough to be able to do that. So it's much easier to shout it out, and sound like, I mean, you see it. It's like these dudes that a chick walks into the bar and in the security of their 15 mates, they can
chat.
shout out
Can
about
chat.
her until the boyfriend walks through and says, who said that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because it
You're not big enough.
so, yeah, fascinating. I just think it's cracker that he, because me, that's real. That's who he is.
3 more years, baby.
He's real.
It is. No, but that's the thing, is like most people struggle to be real, right? Most people struggle to be authentically themselves.
He's himself. That's what people don't like about him.
I'm saying
They can't handle that.
So I'm saying that no matter what your politics is, who you are, I don't care about that. What I'm saying is, what I'm talking about is the realness of an individual.
Yes.
That dude is super. He is super who he is, and that's, to me, it's just such a fascinating thing
Because the
we
world's
don't-
not real anymore.
We
so-
don't see that. We don't. I mean, I'm not even gonna say in politics. I'm gonna say just in life.
Look at our game.
Yeah.
How many smoke and mirrors people are there that are we've done a whole podcast on
Smoke and mirrors.
I'm sitting in an apartment in Santon showing you how amazing my life is. But on the other hand, we know that you actually don't make that sort of money and your business sucks. That's the smoke and mirrors of the
game.
authenticity of life.
Yeah.
And especially exacerbated with this social media platform that you can pretend to be whoever you want to be.
And you know what's so funny about him is that, I mean, we've spoken about it before. Just before he became president, everybody loved him.
Well, I mean, how many shows was he on? And you go back and you go back in time, and all those detractors he was. But why? Because he served their little
narrative.
then, and they got viewers on their shows and all that sort of stuff.
Got to stay at his nice little hotel, and all of a sudden he became president, and he became the worst person on the planet.
100%.
That's interesting, guys. That's just
Anyway,
my stupid thoughts. Thank you, sir.
thanks, Jump. Thanks, guys. See you soon. See you next week. Bye.